is Chipper Jones.
Proud member of that Atlanta Braves organization.
Got a fine dry fit Nike pullover on. I'm assuming, Chipper, first of all, thanks for coming on, that you didn't pay for that. They gave that to you. You're a Hall of Famer. You don't pay for those things.
This one was free.
Yeah.
All right. Do you still get packages every once in a while? Because there's nothing better than going to a clubhouse with a bunch of rich guys who have more free stuff in their lockers than everybody else on the planet.
I get some cool swag.
It still comes to the home address.
Well, you deserve it.
It's funny. I was walking down the street from the stadium over here, and I passed a guy, and he goes, "Man, I could see you a mile away." I was like, "Thanks, man."
You're not sneaking up on anybody.
I'm not sneaking up on anybody.
Hall of Famer Chipper Jones here in studio with us. So you sent out the tweet yesterday. Boom, love this dude, about Walt Weiss. What do you love about the hire?
I love that it's a seamless transition. Putting myself in that locker room, in uniform, spikes on. I want somebody that I trust from day one. I want somebody who has the clubhouse from day one. Somebody new, somebody who, doesn't have any experience. They have to earn it, and we have to wait for that. And I think this is it's the right fit for this team. They've all bled baseball together, and everybody trusts Walt, knows that he has their back, and that's pretty important to the guys inside that clubhouse.
Give me something about his personality, because you've been around him enough.
Dog. He's a dog, man. And he's he hasn't been given the opportunity to get overly emotional, but you heard him today. He said sometimes Snit has to settle me down. I go in to check on Snit, and Snit ends up having to settle me down. So patience is big with him, but I would dare say he knows when to pat somebody on the back, and he knows when somebody needs a foot in their rear end, and he will put his foot in somebody's rear end.
Why is chronologically, when people will bring up age in this game, I understand there's guys that are younger and there are guys who are older. What does old mean in this game? Like, why is that a knock?
Seasons, it means you've been through it. It means that I can't tell you, when guy walks in the clubhouse and he's got 14 years of playing experience under his belt, and, championships under his belt, and then, 12 years of experience in the coaching realm, he walks in with instant street cred, and you're like, okay, I can go to battle with this guy. This guy, he fought and scratched for everything he earned as a player. He was I don't think he'll get too mad at me for saying this. He was a light-hitting shortstop, he certainly held his own, but a light-hitting shortstop. He made his money, picking it on defense. And, heck, won us a ton of games with his glove during the course of the year with that creature glove he had for his whole career.
Did you have to help him fix that thing at one point?
I broke it. Yeah. I think I killed it. Yeah. So we always used to warm up before the game in spring training. I was like, I will retire that glove this year at some point. Sure enough, I think we were in Houston, and we were warming up in front of the dugout, and I threw a seed at him, and it went right through that thing, and he had to use another glove for the first time, maybe ever, But this thing was put together with duct tape and baling wire, man. It was nasty. Ugly.
So the idea of a grinder, like a lot of times people go, I think it's a compliment. I've tried to push this. When people say, oh, you're a Hall of Famer, you might not understand why it's not as easy for somebody else, but to appreciate what a guy is doing to be in a bigs for a day, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, and what they're taking in if they're observing it. I've always thought that those guys look around the room because they have to figure things out. How do I get to play another year? I think when you talk about managers, that's kind of part of what it is you hope they have.
100%. And it's, people have asked me through this whole process, why are you not putting your name into the mix? And I'm like, first of all, I wouldn't do the job justice because I'm being pulled in too many other different directions. But I don't necessarily, you heard Alex refer to this. Not every guy is meant to be a manager, and the game comes easy to certain players. For those players it comes easy to, they're not going to be good managers, okay? Because they're going to look down on the people who couldn't do what they could do, okay? All right? A guy who worked through everything for 14 years knows how hard the game is and is more patient, is probably, more apt to go up and give a pat on the back, whereas somebody the game came easy to, it's a foot in the rear end, and it's not necessarily the way it should go. So I think he's going to do great in this job. I think he's going to excel in this job. We need health, all right? We need this team to be healthy. I don't want to hear playoffs or bust. I don't want to hear World Series or bust. I want 155 to 162 games out of my studs in the everyday lineup, and I want 28, 29, 30 starts out of all 5 guys in the rotation, or 4 out of the 5. Nobody's going to stay healthy the whole year. Having that it's a pipe dream to have that kind of health. But I really feel like there's a good amount of pieces in place, and I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the offseason, that this team, if they stay healthy, is a lead pipe cinch to be in the postseason.
Hall of Famer Chipper Jones here in studio with us. We talked about it earlier in the show, how Freddie vouched for Brian Snicker. Do you think players did the same thing for Walt Weiss?
100%. Yeah. I mean, like I said, you don't stay on staff, eat, drink, breathe, bleed baseball in that clubhouse for 8 years if you're not doing something right, and
you're found out.
Yes.
If you're not that guy,
your warts will show themselves, if they're there. So I really feel like it's the perfect fit for this particular club, and I can't wait to see them hit the ground running, like he said, not having to make any adjustments, a seamless kind of transition day one of spring training.
What do you think about new eyes, new energy? When people say, well, this seems like the same old, what about new eyes? What about new energy? Where do you sit on just that basic concept of bringing somebody from the outside would have been the smarter thing to do, would have brought a new voice, maybe even a new plan into play?
There's something to be said for that. I don't know that this was necessarily the time, especially when you have a candidate like Walt. Walt's going to have his own idiosyncrasies. He's going to have his own sayings. He's going to have his own ways of handling things that are going to be different and unique from what Snit did and what Bobby did and Tony La Russa back in the day. That's the one thing, when you're around so many good managers, it's just like I'm around so many good hitting coaches. They talk to you, and you take 5% of what this guy says, and you take 10% of what this guy does. You discard the rest, but all of a sudden you're taking little bits from each guy, and that molds you into the hitter that you become. It's the same thing in the managerial world. He'll take a little bit from La Russa and a little bit from Coxie and a little bit from Snit and put his own spin on it and be a hell of a manager here in Atlanta.
You've had to answer for a number of years now. What is it you'd like to do? What is it you think you should do? What is it you think you could do? You got a hat. You want to throw it into the ring. You want a job. You want to do anything with this organization more than you do now?
I will be more involved this year than I was last year, for the simple fact that I didn't want Tim Hires to feel like I was looking over his shoulder all the time. I come in once every couple weeks, once a month, whatever, and say hey, and hey, what are we working on? What are we doing with Mike Harris? All this kind of stuff. And I just didn't want him to feel like I was being overbearing. Now that we have a year under our belt, together and have become pretty, not close, but I mean, we're friends, we're compadres,
Do you like his, let's call it style? Do you like how he presents?
I do. It's straight to the point. It's not a lot of banter, which I think you lose players whenever you get long-winded talking about stuff. And all it takes is, one adjustment to a player that gets the message across, and have him have success with that adjustment, that gets the message to the rest of the guys, hey, this guy knows what he's doing, and if I have a problem, I trust him to be able to give me the remedy for it.
I'm not telling you got to rest at your house if you came over one of those days a month, but will there be a number 10 jersey in and around the coach's room? Will that be?
I don't want to be in uniform. I'll come hang out in the cage and go out on the field and watch. I will have conversation. I have all the guys' phone numbers. They can text me. They can call me, whenever they want. If they need a third set of eyes, hey, I'm coming back in town. I'm scuffling a little bit. Can you come take a look at me? That kind of thing. Yeah, I'm 100%.
Have you noticed that because you're a Hall of Famer and you want to help the team, but you talked about coming in, that sometimes it's human nature, right? Guys are going to be threatened and or nervous around you.
Yeah, and I don't want that to be the case. I mean, he was hired to do the hitting coach job. Now, I was a part of that process, and he flat out asked me in the interview process, how much are you involved? And I was like, I'm a third set of eyes, buddy. That's your job. That's Mindy's job. Turned out to be Quattlebaum's job to get these guys right. You're with them every single day. I'm just here, homestands, and stuff like that. But I am one phone call away. And if, you want my opinion on something, I'll come down and certainly give it.
Chipper Jones is here in studio with us. So we talk about the offseason. Aside from getting healthy, how pivotal do you think this offseason is for Alex Anthopoulos?
I think they're all pretty important, to be honest with you. I mean, I think you go in with the same urgency every offseason because you're going to have turnover. There's certain guys that aren't coming back, and you have to address those, but you also have to address them within the financial constraints given to you as, from the people who own the team, So it's a little bit of a juggling act. I heard Charlie say on the Buck show last night that he thought shortstop was big. I agree. I think anytime you could possibly lasso a top of the rotation arm, that takes precedence over everything for me because as you saw in Game 7, there was no reliever coming out of that bullpen for the Dodgers. They were throwing all of those guys that they signed to those high-priced contracts that start games.
Is his arm made of rubber? Because I could just throw every day. It's incredible.
Well, I can promise you this. His street cred went way, way up in the game because anytime somebody comes to the manager and says, hey, I got you. Even with no rest or days rest between Game 2 and Game 3, during that 18 innings.
Yeah, he's throwing late in that game.
He's throwing. He was coming in, and like I got nothing but respect. And
that's at the beginning of a contract where, we live in a world where, oh, no, can't even think about that. Yeah. Well, if you want to win a World Series, you better be thinking about everything.
And in a day and age where most GMs and managers are trying to protect their pitchers, especially the high-priced guys. For him to come up to Dave Roberts and say, I'm your guy, I'll go warm up, put me in, major kudos.
So as a hitter, that side of the ball, for you to say a pitcher, is that the bullet? Let's say you had the bullet, the financial bullet, let's just call it that. Are you looking at that side of it? Because it's almost surprising to me that a guy who values 155 to 162 knows that 28 to 30 is a hope. It's a fingers crossed. I'm a little bit surprised that the consistency of what a bat day in and day out affords you, that might not be the way that you would go.
I'm assuming that Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to do his thing at the plate. I'm assuming Riley's going to do his thing at the plate. I'm assuming Olson's going to do his thing at the plate, and so on and so on. They've got the back of the baseball card, so I'm going to assume that that's what they're going to put up. I think we have some pieces in place to be able to score runs. What wins in the postseason is pitching. And runs are at a premium come playoff series, and if you can, hold that other team to 0, 1, 2, maybe 3 runs every time out, you're going to win the World Series.
All right. What do you believe about the lead out at the plate? Everybody's talking about, well, it's this. I don't want to get backpicked. I don't want to be too far off
Bases
the
loaded,
bag.
1 out, and the
You
play
played
at the
third
plate.
base. You
I
know what
heard
you're
this
looking for.
conversation. There's no way I'm putting a play on in that situation.
Of course not, yeah.
It's too many things can go wrong. Yeah, it's an interesting point. I've heard you talk about, and I read the same things from Dallas Braden and
Whit
Merrifield and the guy for the Red Sox, Jeff Fry, little guy, Jeff Fry, second baseman. They're all saying the same thing. Look, a little better jump off at third base. He's safe. Guy made a hell of a play, and he didn't make it. It's just as simple as that. I'm not going to say one guy was right and one guy was wrong.
But if you saw a guy, you played third base a lot. If you saw a guy taking that short a lead, advantage you, is it not? Especially when you're playing where you're playing.
Yes, because I can get farther off.
That's right.
Yeah, so anytime, I know when they're going on contact, okay? Obviously, bases loaded, they're going on contact. But your inclination is to keep him as close as possible for that, maybe a little pick off over there, just put it in the back of his mind so he doesn't get too froggy over there.
Not in Game 7 with the bases loaded.
Not in Game 7.
It's not happening.
Everybody's being careful. I'm still probably going to keep him as close as possible, maybe give him a little jab step as the pitcher comes up if he's out of the stretch, which he should be. Just to maybe gain a half step on him getting to home plate.
How much appreciation do you have, whether it's Rojas, whether it's Will Smith, whether it's guys throughout baseball's history? You saw it. It happened to you guys firsthand.
Always that way, yeah.
Right. So this concept of it could be a guy from beyond the left field wall, I think that's what makes the game different. I think it's what makes October better than any other sports postseason.
It's absolutely a perfect example because, the Blue Jays finally figured out, hey, we need to pitch around this Ohtani fella because he's killing us, And, from Game 3, Game 4 on, they were not going to let Ohtani beat them, all right? Then you have a couple of superstars in Betts and Freddie that didn't necessarily have the greatest postseason this year. When you're in the postseason every year, you can't control when you're hot, when you're cold. Eventually, you're gonna scuffle in a series.
And when you get at bats, are you getting opportunities to drive in runs? Are you getting the at bats at the right time?
So it is the guys that you don't necessarily think about at the beginning of a series that jump up and absolutely bite you. And it was Will Smith. 6 years in a row, Will Smith has won the World Series, and Miguel Rojas. I mean, who would have thunk that?
What about the play in left field, left center field? I mean, when you see that guy was just put in there, and Kike Hernandez is lying face down
the next play,
thinking the game is over. He's thinking
it was
it's
the
over.
next play after the force out at home. You're right.
Play.
Yeah,
and I'm sitting there, and I was like, it's kind of like when Eddie made the play in left field in the World Series, and everybody was flabbergasted.
how did this happen?
How did he him of all people make that play? Nothing against Eddie, I love him to death, but he's not really known for his glove, and it might as well be Ryan Klesko out there, But my point is,
I think that was a shot, by the way.
That was definitely a shot.
Klesko's over here saying I'm minding my own business.
Yeah, he's like, why am I taking strays all of a sudden? No, but it's like, you just feel like, okay, he makes that play, the play after he's inserted into the game, and then obviously we never know what's going to happen. The ball gets lodged under the fence. If it bounces around, they miss the cutoff. Game 6 could have been a whole different, outcome as well. So it's just funny.
It was funny, though. Kike Hernandez wanted to climb under the fence because he didn't
thought it was over.
Think the play was made. Yeah.
What about the lodge ball? Because I understand the rule, and I had Dodgers people coming after me. I was like, I don't care what the rule is. To me, that's one of the great surrenders of all time. He threw his hands up like he was, I hate to do this. This is me saying it. Like he was in Paris.
Surrendering in World War II.
Yeah.
That's a history lesson, folks.
Yes, it was. But he did know the rule.
It has been a rule in every single stadium that I've ever played in at the professional level.
You do the same thing, right, if you're in that position?
100%.
Yeah.
If it is up under there. Now, some of them have like
enough room
where it'll get up under there. And I saw Pat Burrell give up an inside the park home run in Philadelphia one time where he thought it was lodged,
and you don't want to touch it.
He put his hands up, and it took the umpire running out there, and he was like, "It's in play," you know. So you got to be careful with that. Obviously, that ball was lodged. You could see the padding, you know, up over the top of the baseball. But I would love to see a situation like that, especially when the ball is exposed as it is. Go ahead and grab it and play it. You know, I mean, it's in play. It's takes nothing to go over there and grab it.
It feels very quiddish to me. It feels like very quiddish if you don't actually bend over and get
Well, there can be no gray area. It's got to be one way or the other, and they chose to deal with the lodge ball.
All right. Whatever it is they do this off season, like we don't know what it is. And Nick asked you about how important is it for Alex, and they're all certainly important. But the idea that this is the first domino
this is the first
of your
time
off-season, this one is looked at differently.
It's different because for the first time since they moved here, now you're talking about a season that maybe we're spoiled, but didn't live up to expectations.
Agreed. I think Schwelly gone for half the year. Sale gone for 6 weeks.
Profar
for half the season. Spencer Strider coming back from major injury and not being the Spencer Strider we're all used to, but following the same path that Sandy Alcantara did down in Florida. Same surgery. They go out there sometimes and they look like they've never thrown a baseball in their life. You know, the feel is gone. They don't have control of their stuff. Then you started to see flashes of it right there at the end of the year. I expect him to come back, but wasn't the same Strider. Profar, half the year. Riley, half the year.
Matt Olson struggled at times until late in the season.
I'm just talking about health.
Right.
Okay. Yes, along with the fact that Ole struggled. Marcel was not, you know, he was scuffling with the hip all year. Harris took him a while to get out of his funk.
Do you think Ozzie Albies was still recovering from the wrist?
I don't know. We never had that conversation, but it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that he is. You know, I've never seen him struggle the way he has right-handed. So obviously, I think it very well could have been a problem. Ozzie's always been a real, you know, a high peak, low valley type of hitter, streaky. But the other guys didn't quite have the consistency that we're used to seeing.
It was the perfect storm, in other words, last year.
100%. So, like I stated earlier, I don't want to hear playoffs or bust or World Series or bust. Give me 28, 29, 30 starts out of my staff. Give me 150 to 162 games out of my everyday stud players.
All right, I'm going to hand you something. You can either do this, we can say it out loud or not. Boy. This is the 2026 Contemporary Baseball Era ballot. Now, first, let me ask, are you on a committee? Do you want to announce that you're either on this selection committee or you're not?
I was asked, and I declined. I had something already on the calendar that I couldn't.
All right, I don't know if you would say it out loud. I don't know. I'm assuming, would you be a proud Hall of Famer if Dale Murphy joined you in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so circle the guys that you might, and if you tell me I could say them out loud, I'll say them out loud.
Just don't show it to me. I may say it.
Don't show it to him. I will
Turn it over, Chipper.
I will eat the piece of paper once I actually look at
I will
it.
decline.
You will.
I will decline. Murph. See, I feel like I would have to recuse myself in the Murphy conversation amongst the committee because I'm biased. You know, I know what Dale Murphy did for this city. I know what Dale Murphy meant to this organization. I know how good a player he was. When everybody talks about they have to have a 10-year shelf life of dominant play. He had a 10-year shelf life of dominant play. What do you need? Silver sluggers? Okay, he's got them. You need some gold gloves? Got them too. Oh, MVPs? Yeah, he's got 2 of those. So he had a pretty damn good 10-year run, and I know the hall is not full of Hall of Fame people, but he is certainly one of them.
All right, last thing then regarding this. Andrew Jones, Dale Murphy, do you believe the possibility exists that Braves fans might be double dosing?
Ooh, that would be synergy galore. That would be great. I think this is the year Andrew gets in. I'm hoping for Murph, but I think this is a great year on the ballot for Andrew to take the next step. There's not a lot of first ballot guys that are going to be highly considered for the Hall of Fame.
But I think guys like you and others who have said out loud, and pitchers, maybe even more so, when a guy says, I look over my left shoulder and I go, I got that guy every day? Hell yeah.
That's why I think we should have a vote.
Yeah, well,
I think you should take some votes away from let's say there's 75 living Hall of Famers. The Hall of Famers will get it right, take away 75 media votes, and we're right where we left off. And I think 75 is enough to be able to sway most fringe guys into getting in or not.
I just like when Hall of Famers say, I'm not going to be insulted if that guy's up on the stage with me.
Yeah.
That guy deserves to be up here. I think, unfortunately, whether it's deaf ears or just not actually having the vote, that sometimes that doesn't register enough.
I agree. We're talking, going back to Andrew and Murph, we're talking about the same argument for Andrew as well. Unbelievable 10-year run of Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, and every one of those, like you said, the big 3 will say, without a doubt, more times than not, the MVP of our club, simply because he was a plus defender.
All right, the Hall of Famer Chipper Jones coming by to reiterate, a fan of the Walt Weiss hire. We'll see more of you, just not necessarily in a uniform, come this season during some homestands at Truist Park.
Oh, that means more free stuff for the guy, more free clothes and everything else.
One of these days down there at spring training, somebody is going to give me. I've dropped hints pretty strong.
Maybe a golf sweater tied in the front, draped over my shoulders.
Whatever it takes.
No, you're doing it all wrong. Chipper comes out of nowhere.